Hello, good people. How are you, good people? How are you doing? And I just got a notification that my live is on now. This feels heavy, but it feels so cute. How is everybody? Welcome to the live today, where we are going to be talking. I should literally learn to put my notes on a phone because this is very it's giving ghetto babe. Nothing wrong with ghetto, but it's giving ghetto babe. I should do better than this. But anyway, welcome to the live today. We are not all serious today because I was just like, YouTube needs to get the V that everybody else gets. So YouTube is getting the V that everybody else gets today. But my notes, as usual, and we are going to be talking about UGC content. And as you can see, these days I come on here and I just go into it because if we say we're starting at 1, we're starting at whole 1. There's no need for us to give each other 2 minutes, 5 minutes to get water or whatever. But if you do want to get yourself some water, get a notebook, get a pen, please go ahead and do that because you will have a little bit to write, okay? A little bit of my knowledge that you will want to soak up and write. Anywho's, if there's anybody here for the first time and just seeing my gorgeous face for the first time, hey. If you're seeing me for the first time, hi, I'm V. I'm a full-time remote worker and I'm also a UGC content creator. I've been creating content online. This year is my 10th year creating content, and I've given this um, whole background about my content a lot of times. So yeah, I'm not gonna get into it, but you can always watch my content kind of, get the background on how I got into content, where I started, where I'm at, and all things like that. But anyway, today I decided to talk about UGC because it's a topic that a lot of people ask me about. And I wanted to create like a UGC masterclass at one point sometime last year. And then I decided, nah, man, I can't handle the whole masterclass for remote work, masterclass for UGC. So I am basically going to give you a mini UGC masterclass here that was meant to be a paid one. Anywho, so I started creating UGC back in, I remember I created my Fiverr account in 2018. I only started doing UGC, if I'm not mistaken, in 2020 or 2022. I'm not too sure, but around that COVID time. And UGC is something that is still growing, especially on the African continent. It hasn't become so big, but there's huge opportunities for you to monetize and make like quite a bit of money online. It's something that I've been doing and it's not restricting, so it doesn't restrict you to making money only with like within the African continent. I have personally been making like UGC for mostly USA brands, and that's more lucrative because obviously we know if you're on the African continent and you're getting some dollars, baby, yeah, that's the best thing you could do for yourself. Anyway, we are going to talk about what UGC is, what the difference between UGC and influencing is, what you need in order for you to actually become a UGC creator, who can your clients be, how to get these clients, and also how you can learn to like price yourself. Are we good? Are you excited to learn about those things that I just listed? Like, I'm going to be drinking some water because I kind of feel I don't feel okay. I feel like I'm getting a flu or it's just a morning thing. I don't know. But anyway, so what is UGC? I literally just spoke about this on the TikTok live that we were on. And UGC basically stands for user generated content. Hey Taki. UGC stands for user generated content. And what this means is basically you're going to be creating content for brands or for small to medium companies, whatever that may be, and you're creating this as a general user of that brand. Hey Sandile, I'm also pretty excited. You're just showing up now. Good. We're just getting started. So yeah, UGC is basically user generated content, which means as a person who's creating this content, you're a general user of a certain brand or a certain product. So if a brand approaches you to create this user-generated content, it's not expected to be the most professional. It's expected to come across as something that a general user created. That's why when we start talking about what you need in order for you to become a UGC creator, you will find that you don't need the most professional equipment for you to create this content. And for you to differentiate between a user-generated content creator and an influencer, something that can help you is that when you become an influencer, you have basically put some time into growing an audience, and hopefully it is a specific niche audience that brands now pay you to put their products in front of, so that you market your products to these followers that you have grown online, you have garnered online. As a UGC creator, you do not need to have a big following. If anything, you probably just need a portfolio, and your portfolio doesn't need to be like, them professional ones, though that would be a really good idea for you to do professional. We'll talk about where you can do that. But you can also just have your social media, but you don't need to invest too much time into growing a big following, because brands are not interested in your following as a UGC creator. They are more interested in the product that you create, like the work that you will produce for them, right? So you could create a social media account where you just post the work that you create for other brands, so you can use that as a portfolio, or you can use platforms like Canva, platforms like Behance to create your portfolio on there. And that's something you're going to need in order for you to share with brands when you reach out to them. It's not every time, same as when you're an influencer, it's not every time brands are coming to you giving you work. Most times you're going to need to do the outreach. You have to send your proposals to them, and in you sending your proposals, you also need to attach either your social media or your portfolio, your digital portfolio, so that they know what type of work to expect from you, what type of work you've done before, and that will help them decide if you're the right fit for them to partner with on whatever product that they want to put into market. You will realize, if you are specifically in South Africa, mainly if you're just on the African continent, or really this is for anybody anyway. It's just that I focus mainly for my African babes, because I want you all to make all the money you can online. You'll realize that brands here in Africa are only starting to warm up to UGC now. But that's just how it works. Even when influencing started, we got to get on the influencer bandwagon a little bit later than everybody else. But as they are warming up to it, like I always say, whether it's about remote work or whatever, you want to be one of the first people to get that money up front, baby. You don't want to be the last 100 people that show up. While it's taking off, while brands are warming up to it, get into it, get to learn about UGC marketing. And I can tell you, of all the social media things I have done, UGC is the least demanding, at least for me. As an influencer, there is pressure that brands expect you to do things a specific way, and there's scripts and things you need to do. With UGC there might be scripts, but the thing is, it's not very restricting, because at least you're not putting it in front of your audience for them to see or to judge or to either like or not. With UGC, you're following instructions on what you're told to do, and these brands are going to use it on their own social media for their own marketing, whether they're going to put it on TV, they're going to put it on their social media, they're going to use it in their newsletters or marketing material. That is up to them. Your job is just to create. And that's why I say it's easier. You're just creating and sending it back to them. As an influencer, you're going to need to create, you need to post, you need to promote, and you better make sure as you're creating it's something that will resonate with your audience. So UGC is where it's at. 2025, we're making money from UGC. We don't all have to be influencers. There are many different avenues to getting into this. And what now do you need in order for you to be a UGC creator, to create this UGC content? Literally just 4 things. I listed them as 5, but the other one is basically the same thing listed twice. So what you're going to need, firstly, is just a phone. Literally, guys, we all have phones. We all have phones. As long as you've got a good quality camera on your phone, you're good. Remember at the beginning I said with UGC it doesn't need to be like professional grade content. So it needs to be something a general user. Think of a general user as your sister or your brother or your friends who are not on social media. Like people who are just living their normal life. If they use Handy Andy and they were to create content, like take a picture or just create a video about Handy Andy, that's what you want to create your content like. Unless if the brand then gives you specific instructions on what you should create, what shots to take, what to say in the video. Generally, UGC is really supposed to be created as though you are just a general user who knows nothing about content creation. So a good quality phone, you can check for like phone settings, whatever phone you're using. Check for phone settings online on YouTube specifically, or even TikTok, but mainly on YouTube you will find very helpful information when it comes to like setting up your camera on your phones in order for you to produce the best quality content that you can. Second thing you're going to need, you do need a tripod. Tripods really help you with creating stable content. As much as it's supposed to be like work that's done by a rookie who knows nothing about content creation, it's a good idea for you to produce good quality work for the people who are trusting you to create this content for their brands. So get yourself a tripod. There's so many affordable tripods from Take A Lot. Believe it or not, when I actually started creating content as an influencer back in 2017, if I'm not mistaken, around that time, I literally purchased a 200 Rand tripod from Take A Lot. I still use that tripod to this day, okay? So there are some cheap tripods you can get online. Get something that just helps you create stable content. If you were on the TikTok live before we came live here, you saw me taking a box, taking books, like literally you guys are propped on a box of shoes with books behind you. Those also do work, but something that I always say when you are starting, you can use whatever you have. However, as soon as you get your first payment, you want to make sure you're investing in your craft, because that's just how you're going to be able to attract more clients. The better your work, the more clients you're going to attract, and the more the clients you have already will spread word of mouth about the work that you do for them. The goal is always to make sure, whichever way you go, influencer or UGC, the goal is always to make sure whenever you produce work, you produce the best that you can. Because brands do talk to each other, whether it's brands or it's the PR people for these brands, they do talk to each other. They will always tell each other when they worked with you and they liked your work or they did not like it. And that's how you're going to be able to retain more clients. And you also want to make sure if you produce good work, best believe the next time they're launching another product, they will approach you because they are happy with the work you do. So constantly invest in the work that you do. Me saying I still use the tripod that I got for 200 Rand does not mean I have not bought other tripods. I have, but I will still use that one because that was my starting point and it works. And then the third thing you're going to need, a ring light. Like somebody said, I did not ignore your comment, I saw it. You do need a ring light. But starting out again, you don't need to put pressure on yourself, because sometimes we end up not starting with these things because we feel like, oh, I need to have everything together. I need to have a ring light. I need to have the latest iPhone. I need to have the best tripod. And that's not the case. You really just need to start with what you have. I can assure you, natural light is the best lighting that you can ever get. As long as you learn when to take pictures, and just a little hint from a girl who's been creating content for years. If you want to take photos or videos, I would say in the mornings as the sun is rising. So anything starting from around 6, between 6 and 10 o'clock for me, that's usually the best time to create content, because the light is out, the sun is out, but it's not harsh. And you will learn about these things. If sun being harsh is something new to you, as you create more and more content, you will learn about these things. In the afternoon, especially around this time, the sun is very harsh. If you're trying to take pictures or photos, hi Sine Gugu, it's going to be too harsh on the content that you're creating. So figure out what times best in the mornings, and then in the evenings. We all know golden hour, okay? Try to use golden hour when you're creating your content in the evening. And then once you get your first client or your first two clients, then invest in a ring light or invest in those bigger lights that people use for their YouTube channels and things like that. You don't have to start with that. Start with what you have, and then you can always get the better stuff as you get more and more clients, and you get bigger and bigger, and your portfolio gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the last thing you're going to need, it's either going to be your social media or a portfolio. You can use your social media as your portfolio, which is what I explained earlier. You can generally just be taking your videos, taking your pictures for other brands, and just posting on your social media. Or before you even get your first client, the best thing you can do for yourself is to create content with things in your house. I was giving my little sister this advice because she wanted to get into content creation last year. And I told her, you see this Vaseline here, create content about Vaseline. Whether it's going to be pictures or it's going to be a video, create it as though Vaseline approached you and they asked you to make UGC for them. Use the things in your house. Sunlight liquid that you use every day for your dishes. Take that and create something. The foundation that you wear every day when you're going to work. Take that and create content about it, and then post it on your social media, or put it as part of your portfolio on Behance or on Canva. And that is what you're going to use when you're approaching brands. Obviously, you're going to need to. And let me tell you something. I'm trying to be a very organized babe this year, right? I am an organized babe. But something I was actually supposed to prepare before I started this live, I wanted to make sure I share a template that you can use to reach out to brands with you guys. I just never got to do it. Just putting it out there. I think I just put a lot on my plate because January, I'm trying to make sure I pace myself and get things done for the rest of the year, trying to plan. And this is something I was supposed to do. I just never got to it. So I promised I will have it to you. I'm not going to put dates on it because the other live I did promise something that I never got to do. So I'm not going to promise on dates, but you're welcome to check up with me from time to time. If you want to send me an email or a DM every week asking me about it, please do so. But it's something that I need to do for you guys so that you know where to start. I've worked as an influencer and I've worked as a UGC creator. And both times I can tell you, most people when they get into content creation, there's this misconception that brands will always just, pop up in your DM, they'll pop up in your email. Unfortunately, that's not reality, especially for everybody. No, it's not. At some point, it will be, because once you've done enough the work, brands are just going to be able to come across you online or come across other people you've worked with, and they just start approaching you. But as you start, hey baby, how are you, Anne? As you start, you do need to have at least a template, like I said I was going to do for you, but it's something that you can do yourself. Literally, it's just an email you draft yourself. If you're not comfortable doing it alone, do keep reminding me to get that out to you guys, so that you know and learn how to reach out to brands. What I can tell you is, if you are reaching out to a brand for whatever collaboration, you don't want to focus on what the collaboration does for you. It's the same as when you are applying for a job and you're asked for an interview. You are not going to get into that interview and talk about all the good things this job will do for you. You always want to highlight what they will gain out of this collaboration. They know for sure. I'm sure you will, Taki. I am sure. Definitely, they know that you reaching out to them for a collaboration is because you know it will add value to you, but that's not what's going to push them over the edge to say, let's get into a collab with this person. A brand is trying to grow, a brand is trying to make sales, a brand is also going to increase its footprint. So you want to focus on those things. Are you going to help them increase their footprint? Are you going to help with sales? Or are you going to help the brand just grow? What is your point in you collaborating with this brand? So highlight that in your email, and less focus on the fact that, oh, you're going to make money from this, or it's going to add something to your portfolio, or you don't want to focus on yourself, focus on what they are going to gain. And I tell you, if you do that, the chances of you landing and converting brands to work with you are going to be much higher than you just saying, oh, I want this because I am so good, oh, my portfolio will look good, oh, I will charge you $500. And no, baby, you need to focus on them. And who are some of the people that you can actually approach in order for you to do UGC for? I've been talking about brands, and these could literally be the biggest organizations that you can think of. That could be your Dark and Lovelies, it could be your Sunlight Liquid, like I said earlier, your Handy Andes, your Vaselines. These are the big brands that you can think of. However, it can also be small to medium sized enterprises. So the businesses that are local in your area, the businesses that you come across on social media, it could be any of those. It could be your cousin's business, your sister's business. It does not matter which business it is. But if you're trying to grow your portfolio, the best way to go about it is to start by creating content of the brands in your house and creating UGC content for the small brands around you in your community, or just the small brands you bump into online, and you work your way up to the big companies. Are we good? I feel like I'm talking so much, and today I can even feel it because my throat, my nose, everything. I can feel that we are doing too much with a voice, babe. We are not even going to be here for too long because I can tell I am not okay 100%. Practice makes perfect. Obviously, with everything, actually, with everything. Cool. Good to hear you're good. With anything, that's a statement. Even we're not getting paid. That's the thing. You know what? That is actually the thing. Let me just touch on that. That's the thing. I think it gets difficult to keep going and to keep creating good content or good anything if you're not getting paid for it. But you have to go through that process. And you know what? I'm sorry to bring this up. If you're any, I'm a 2000 here, I am sorry. But you are the guys who are very in this world of instant gratification. And unfortunately, the world does not work that way. We would all love it to be like that. As a millennial that I am, I've lived through life without instant gratification. So I know it's difficult for the people who are born like now, the 2000 people. It's probably difficult for you to kind of understand that why can't things just happen right there and then? No. I have talked about how last year was my best year making money online as a content creator. I've been doing this thing 10 years this year. Last year was my ninth year. So it's not going to happen like overnight. And I'm not saying it's going to take you 9 years to get to that. Obviously not. With the help of AI and all these things these days, it can definitely take way less than 9 years. But is it going to happen over 24 hours? No. You just need to have a little patience. Can you share some of the content that you have created, please? If you do go to my, what is it called? If you go to my Instagram, that's where I've worked mostly with brands. Or you can also go on my Fiverr. That's where most of my UGC clients come from. And most of them are in the US. So let me also put it out there. I don't have like a portfolio because I also have this thing of I've been doing this for so long. Each time I work with a brand, I have a file in my Google Drive, a folder in my Google Drive where I just store all the videos that I create for clients. Should I research if a brand I like is paying for UGC? Yes, please. And even if they are not, I like your questions. I really love this. So even if they are not doing UGC work, what you can do, this is where the approaching the brand. These planes, honey. These planes, baby. You are able, yes, you're able to upload on Fiverr. If your clients are on Fiverr, and obviously if someone books your work on Fiverr and you do the work for them, you upload the work to Fiverr, they approve it, and that's how you do your exchange. For me, when I create, I will put on my Google Drive, and then I send you what is yours. You love it, you don't love it, we do reviews and things like that. I just forgot what I was saying. Okay, so I was saying that even if you research, um, I haven't done any for travel, but I've created content when I traveled, which I am using to approach for the next time that I'm going to be traveling. Like I was explaining, I hate it when I want to pay attention to comments. Oh my god. Anyway, so I was saying that even if the brand that you want to work with is not doing UGC, they haven't gotten into it. Like I say, this is something that is still new on the African continent specifically. So many brands have not warmed up to it. Maybe you're the person that's supposed to just give them a little nudge so that they get into it. That's where that email I was talking about, to approach them, to pitch yourself to them, will come in. You tell them this is something new. If I listened to a podcast by Mpumile Dwaba the other time where she was being interviewed by YouTube creators, the YouTube creators account. I have to start with Avon since I said it. You see, exactly, you've got a starting point. And Pumi was talking about how when she started her podcast here, brands were not really like aware of what that is. So maybe that's you. With UGC, you will be the person to introduce it to the brand that you want to work with. You will be the person to explain how UGC works, but also keep in mind, you're going to need to know exactly what it's about, how the matrix works, how people can track progress with what's working and what's not, and things like that. You could be the person that approaches, what brand, girls, what brand do you like? Are you based in Africa? Yes, I am. Where did you think I was? um, I'm in Canada. Oh, nice. No, I am in Africa. What was I saying? What brand? What brand can you guys think of? As a girl, what brand would you love to work with? That might be the biggest brand that you're like, oh my god, I would love to work with them, but they're like such a huge brand. You might be the person to introduce UGC to them. Have you ever thought of that? I remember when I started like influencing, that's what I would do. Sephora. Yeah, if you're in Canada, that's Sephora. In Africa, we don't have Sephora. But yes, Essence Cosmetics is another big brand. L'Oreal is another big brand. Maybelline is a big brand. Maybe even Clicks the brand, you know. So when I started creating content as an influencer, that's basically what I would do. Moisturizer for women over 50, exactly. So you can literally carve out a niche for yourself, the same way you would if you wanted to start creating content on any platform. Like how I talk about social media, I talk about what is it, Avon, yes, I talk about remote work. Carve out a niche for yourself. Do you want to be the person who creates content for moisturizers, or do you want to be creating content for just the big brands that stock those moisturizers? That could be your Discam, your Edgar's, your Clicks, maybe for Sheeny. Like carve out a little, niche for yourself, and you start work from there. Approach brands. You might be the person that they need to hear about how well UGC is going and how it can benefit them. Don't be afraid to try. Always try them out. And then where are some of the places that you can actually get these clients? And you know what? I don't mean to make things sound so easy because I've been doing it for a while, but things are pretty easy. Sometimes we tend to overthink and we talk ourselves out of doing something, like I said earlier. Most times you sit down and you think, I want to get into this UGC. Where do I start? You've written down, if you're like me, you write things down. I write everything down, babe. You write things down and you're thinking, this will be my starting point. This is what I need. By the time you're done, you're telling yourself, oh my God, where am I going to get the money to start all this? How am I going to start? Oh, how am I going to approach people and all of that, right? So the easiest way to actually reach out to people, and I'll tell you, always think of the easiest way to do something. Even when you sit down and you write things down, always sit down again and figure out what could be the easiest way for me to get a tripod. what is going to be the easiest for me to acquire clients? And these are the easiest way that you're going to do it. Number one, DMs. Everyone is on social media. All brands are on social media these days. So literally, I'll contact you. All right, cool, babe. So yeah, literally contact them through DM. If you feel like that's not professional enough, it will also depend on what type of quality work you produce. If you're someone who has a quirky brand, you're like all, girly and it's all fun and whatever, approaching someone in the DMs is not a problem. Unless if you're serious, you're approaching us from that managerial level and you want to be serious, then yeah, go through emails. But to be very honest, every brand is on social media, and that's the easiest way for you to approach them. Sometimes you can't find a brand's email address, but social media, you will find them. Get into their DMs, find their emails, find them online. Another way, find them on LinkedIn. And on LinkedIn, you're not just going there to find the brand. You can literally find the right person to get in touch with. You go on LinkedIn, you search for the people who work there, search for the people in the marketing team, people who handle their social media, people who do the influencer marketing things for them. And you literally DM those people. I guess I'm just here to say don't be scared to DM people. So I'll probably love it. We'll check your channel. Cool. Anyway, guys, I'm not paying attention to the comments now because as you can see, I'm getting a little frazzled and Anyway, so yeah, on LinkedIn, like I said, you're going on LinkedIn to make sure you look up not just the company, but look for the right people that you can find. There are services out there that you can use to find like company email addresses. I'm not going to get into that because some of them are not, I'm not even going to get into that. But there are ways that you can find their emails. But the best, I would say, the best and the easiest for now, right? You just need to go. LinkedIn will be your best friend. Go on LinkedIn, search for the people who work for the company. While you go through their profiles, don't be scared that they're going to see you've looked through their profiles. You want money. You are going to do what you gotta do to get that money, okay? So reach out to them, and then you also want to go on freelancer websites, like I said earlier. I am on Fiverr, there's Upwork, there's TopTal, there's freelancer.com. All these platforms are going to be able to help you get clients. Some of them it's going to be a little bit difficult, okay? That's why next week I'm actually talking about how to get your first client on Fiverr. That's a topic that comes up a lot, like how to get your first client on Fiverr or how to just get clients on Fiverr. So on these platforms, that's where you can get your clients. And when it comes to pricing, this is something I've touched on quite a bit, especially last year, like pricing your work. How are you going to do it, especially if you're a first time creator and you want to now, get on a platform where other people are already servicing clients and they're basically offering the same service as you. The first thing that I would say you're going to do, and I always talk about the things that I personally did. This is what I did when I first started creating UGC. You go online on the platform of choice that you want to get on. Mine has always been Fiverr, and that's the one I know the most, which is why we are talking about it next week's live. So you're gonna go there, do research again. If you hate research, you're going to hate me, but I hope you don't hate me. Please love me so that you learn more from me. So you go on there, the research you're going to do, you are not going to list yourself as a seller at this point. You're going to go there as someone who's trying to buy a service. So you're just going to do a search. You're looking for a UGC creator. Type in UGC content, UGC creator, whatever. Trust me, a whole lot of things will populate. You will come across people who have been doing it for years, people who have had thousands and thousands of orders from different clients. Then there's you who's got zero orders, right? What you're going to do, look at people who have the least orders and how much they are charging. People who have, like, let's say the middle class of orders, figure out how much they're charging. Well, not figure out, look through their costing, their fees, and see how much they're charging, and then look at the people who are already having like 1,000 or more clients and see how much they're charging. Trust me, you will realize most of the people who don't have as many clients yet don't even charge that much. That I have figured out myself. There are a few people in the Philippines and India that you will come across. These people have had like 5,000 plus orders, but their prices are very low. At this point for them, it's because their work could be either repetitive or it's easy to replicate for them and create and get it out quickly, and they make their money that quickly. So for someone who is getting orders on a daily basis, right? Shit must babe. Oh, thank you. I talk with my hands. I do talk with my hands a lot. Thank you. But yeah, for someone who has like that much of a turnover for clients, like I said, in the Philippines, in India, there are a lot of people there who literally are churning out content on a daily basis, and they can afford to charge minimum fee. But that's not going to be you. That's not going to be you, because you are not at the same level. What I would propose you do, which is what I did when I started, I was literally charging $5. Guys, $5 is nothing, especially on Fiverr, because when someone pays you $5, Fiverr is going to take their little commission off that. You're probably only going to end up with $3. Yo, I cry when I think of this, because what the hell? But that's market penetration. If you're trying to get into a market that other people are already in, which is why I always say when something is new, you want to get into it first. You are going to be the pioneer of this thing. Everyone else who's going to come after you, you have already set the standard, baby. So I went and I realized there were a lot of people charging like $5, $10 because they were still new. The competition is very high. I started charging $5. I got my first client. I increased my price. And for me, that strategy worked. You increase your price, you get another client, you increase your price, you get another client, you increase your price until you get to a point where you feel like, okay, this is fair. And another way that I've always said is that you will always know when you are charging a low price, you can afford to do it for your first 2 or 3 clients. But after you've got the experience and you know how much work you're putting into producing this content, if you're charging too low a price, you will feel it the day you send that work that they requested from you. You do feel it in your gut. You will feel, okay, I produced the correct amount of work, amazing work, but they did not pay me enough. When you feel that, increase your price. Fiverr is a social media platform, right? Sorry. So it's actually Fiverr, not Fiverr, babe. Talking about it. So Zizo, it's Fiverr, Fiverr. It is a platform. It's a freelancer platform. I'm going to be talking about it next week. If you want to join next week's live as well, join for that. I will be talking mainly about Fiverr and how to get your first clients and things like that. But yeah, it is a platform, a freelancer one, not necessarily a social media platform. But anyway, so that's about it. When you want to become a UGC creator, nobody's going to come knock at your door and be like, hello, do you want to be a UGC creator? No, it's something that you're going to need to just go and do on your own. The same way that you listen to people who started YouTube channels, people who are big on social media, they're influencers, and they tell you, you just have to start. That's just it. You just have to start. You just have to tell yourself, I'm going to do this, and you do it. You're welcome, Zizo, and you go ahead and do it. You just need to do the research that is needed for you to be knowledgeable on the topic, so that you are first of all not going to be paid below what you deserve, and you're also going to make sure you just know how to deliver the work that is needed. These contracts, there are things that you'll need to do, because doing UGC is basically like running your own little business, same way that I've talked about being an influencer as well. You're going to need to have contracts that you put together. I'm not even going to promise you this, but I will get it to you. This don't ask me about. Ask me about the letter, the email template that you can use. But yeah, you do need to have contracts of your own, because if you're reaching out to brands are going to need you to sign something. You also should need brands to sign something that binds them, so that you don't create work that they don't end up paying you for, or you create work that they end up using without even crediting you and things like that. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's fun. It's fun to create the content. It's fun to work as a UGC creator, making money almost every day, weekly. Yeah, it's nice. But there's legalities that you also need to pay attention to. And yeah, we'll get into all that as we go forward with like my newsletter. Yo, guys, remember, we are done with the live at this point. I'm just telling you. Remember how I said I'm looking for somebody to write newsletters for me? There are some people who have reached out and stuff, and we are going to be consistent with it, but we're in the final stages of just finding somebody. So this is where you're going to be getting all this information about your contracts and stuff. Once we've got someone who writes the letters for us, and I focus on just coming here and being cute on live with you guys. Anyway, that was it for today, and I love it. 40 minutes, not 60 minutes. And I talked a lot, but not as much as every other day. I hope you guys enjoyed this live today. Yeah. We are gonna be live on YouTube and TikTok going forward. I think tomorrow will be our first day going live on both platforms while I'm working. I'm going to make that a thing. So all the lives that I've been doing on TikTok, like my random TikTok lives where we end up chatting and all that, we are bringing it onto both platforms so that we can all get comfortable together, so that I can get comfortable with YouTube a little bit more while you guys are there with me. So yeah, thanks a lot for showing up. Thank you for consistently always be here. I hope you learned something that will be valuable, and I hope you show up again next week for our Fiverr chat, and we can get deep into how Fiverr works, how you can actually, oh, by the way, I actually did do some work for Fiverr last year, so we will talk about that and how you can get into it as well. And yeah, guys, amazing. Enjoy the rest of your day.